Hi everybody, Matrix Mastery. Hola, buenos dias. I hope everyone is having such a good day. I am kind of coming on live as an impromptu video because I got inspired earlier. I just got so jazzed up about something, and I am live right in my group. I've done this 2 days in a row where I am like, oh crap, I just went live. I did go live in my group, right? Rita, Deb, Jennifer, Jane, I am in Matrix Mastery, correct? Before I go any further, I did this yesterday. You guys know I've got my computer in my lap if you see me looking down. Yes, okay, perfect. So anyways, I got very jazzed up earlier. As you guys know, I'm not any kind of like astrological expert. Clearly we have some in the group as they've put on their Toot Toot Tuesday, celebrating their gifts. And I hope everyone's had a lot of fun with that. It has been absolutely astounding to see everyone's talents. Like, you guys are really incredible. And what a beautiful platform to be able to share with another individual that is most likely going to resonate with what you're offering. That's what I was telling my mom this morning. My mom's staying, she's up from Florida, and she was like, that's so cool, your concept, Holly, of Toot Toot Tuesday. I said, well, sometimes, you have a day job and then you've got your purpose work as kind of like a side project until it moves into something a little bit more of like your permanent reality. And you may not want to post it on your page. And so this is kind of a good way to post it somewhere that perhaps someone's going to be resonating with your message, your energy, or whatever the case may be. So I hope you all have found some value in that, maybe found some different selections that have inspired you in some way, and maybe you've reached out to somebody. So anyways, as I was thinking earlier, I got kind of like excited about the fall equinox, and I got inspired by a friend of mine yesterday, and I started thinking about it on my walk this morning. I try to go on a walk every morning to get my energy moving, and just kind of like connect to nature and just sort of see what messages come forth, because for whatever reason, when I do my walks, that's actually where I get my information. It's truly not like laying in a bed, like meditating, or like sitting in a chair meditating. That's just not my jam. That's not how I roll. Like, I don't know. So I honor what's true to me, and it's usually on my walks. And so I just kind of like be in a gentle space of observation. Like I always tell you guys when I'm running the frequencies, just be a gentle observer. You don't have to be like, an acute police of your thoughts to determine like what's coming up. Just kind of like be in your experience. And so I was like, man, this whole concept of, seasons it just really struck me as something powerful. Like, as we've kind of moved through so many seasons throughout 2020, and so many changes have evolved, and we've evolved as individuals. Like, now we're moving into fall, and the autumn equinox really does represent the opportunity to sort of like lean in, as my friend Tess says. She uses this term quite a bit, and I've started to resonate with it a lot, is leaning in to what you're choosing to create. And I watched my friend Kim, her video yesterday, and what she said was really interesting. So I want to kind of like throw this out there, and I actually have a little lesson plan today. Those of you all that know me and have been either coached by me or been to an event or something, I do not do lesson plans. That is Christy's jam. She's the teacher. I usually fly by the seat of my pants and just let things roll. Thank you, Charlene. I was feeling this color. It was very inspiring to me, and it was just kind of calling me. So anyway, so Kim was talking about yesterday. She was like, happy fall equinox eve. Think about this, guys. As we move into the fall, yes, it's Halloween time, or whatever it is that you resonate with. And my dog is barging into the room. Hang on just a minute. Let me shut the door. Okay. Oh, sitting back down in the chair. Sorry about that. Mojo was insistent on getting in here. As you guys are always so patient with me on these lives. There's always something happening. But as we're moving into this new season, I want you to ask yourself, like, what season of you are you moving into? And Kim brought up a really good point. I promise I'm getting to it. Is that, you know how we go into kind of like the end of the year after we experience whatever holidays that we celebrate, and January brings about like this energy of renewed you, fresh new you, changing this, new year that, intention of whatever, New Year's Eve, you know, you've got that feeling like that ball is dropping. You're coming to kind of face yourself of like, these are the things that I want different in my life. These are the things that I'm going to change. And by George, this year, it's going to happen. I'm setting it, I'm making it, I'm doing the changes and all those things. And sometimes they just fall flat, right? And sometimes we get into a space of like, sheer disappointment of ourselves. And so what I want you all to consider is this, and I invite you to really kind of pick this apart a little bit today as we go through our clearing and my little lesson plan that I have. And you guys will have to bear with me because I don't know if I'm actually going to be able to follow it. Is that what is it as you move into this autumn equinox, this fall season? What is it, this season that you want to embrace of yourself? How do you want to see yourself as you're sitting there on New Year's Eve? Maybe you're watching the ball drop. Maybe you're sitting at home just like inviting in the new year. But what is it that you want to see? What is it that you want to feel? What is it that you want to experience about yourself? What is it that you want to have more of? What is it that you want to have less of? What is it that you want to step into further? Really start thinking about what your intentional energy is going to be at that time, because here's the kicker. This is why a lot of this stuff falls flat or we don't succeed, is because we enter into the new year like big bang. There's these expectations. You got to get your crap together. You got to make it happen. But essentially what we're doing is that we're saying we want all this change and we want all these things to be different, and we're doing so from the intentional energy of lack. I want more money. I want to lose weight. I want that new partner because I don't have, right? And so we're like making these declarations and we're like shouting to the sky and whoever will freaking listen, right? Of what we want. But what we don't realize is our driving force is essentially that place of lack in ourselves. And I ask you all, do you want to create from a space of exhilaration or a place of I don't have enough? Do you want to create from a place of inspiration or I wish things were better? What actually feels truest to you right now, right? What feels best to you? So I want you to kind of like take a step back as we go through this video and as we enter into the clearing in a few minutes. Ask yourself, like, what is it that you want to experience with yourself? Maybe you do bring in different materials. Maybe you have, you know, a different human experience, and all that's fine and beautiful and great and grand. But what I really want you guys to get acutely attuned to is your own frequency, your personal vibration, because you don't have to wait till New Year's to set intentions. You don't have to wait to the new moon to do so. You can do so when you dial into that state of personal balance and energetic harmony. And that comes from you getting really familiar with what it is that you choose in this world, in this life, in this human experience, and knowing deep down who you are. What is your genuine state? How do you vibrate on a daily basis? And so I think that these seasons and these times of the year, they really provide a beautiful catalyst for us to kind of have like that external trigger, or that external sort of like, okay, this is happening, so here's your sense of encouragement. Excuse me, I'm burping and I haven't even had anything to eat, so I guess I'm like trying to get this truth out here, is that It's that external catalyst that provides that little shove in the right direction to ensure that we're kind of like calibrating ourselves on the path that we say that we want to walk. It's never that we're going in the wrong direction, guys. And please hear me when I say that. We're never going in the wrong direction. It's just what is along that path. If you feel like you're stumbling, you're wobbly, you're wonky, you feel like, okay, I was on my path. What the heck happened? I took a detour. I'm going down a different road. All this stuff is happening in my life. I do not prefer it. I do not like it. This person here, that person there, and this is happening. There's this lack. I don't have this. You know, you're just looking at all these things, all these different kind of like environmental stimuli or these 3D manifestations of what's really running inside of you. But ask yourself, what along this particular path is being presented to me for me to realign myself on the path that I choose? It's not right and it's not wrong. It's not the right path or the wrong path or whatever the case may be. And I think that we put that pressure on ourselves and make ourselves believe that sometimes, that there's a right path and a wrong path, right? And I have to challenge that to some degree. And of course, there's always going to be extremes. Like, I guess if you turn into a serial killer, I'd probably say you're on the wrong path. But you see what I'm trying to say here is that what in your reality that you could be observing or experiencing in this time that you are existing and alive, that you may think, this isn't quite fitting. This isn't quite fitting to me right now. And why isn't it fitting? Is it fitting because it's not your preference? Or is it not fitting because it's not aligning to your internal integrity, your core values? And if you all are not in kind of like in tune with what that is, I invite you to do that immediately once this video ends. Is get a sheet of paper, get your computer out, get your phone out, I don't care. But write down what your core values are. It's not necessarily like, oh, I'm a free spirit and I love to take walks along the beach. Like, those are preferences, right? Or maybe that's your personality trait of you being a free spirit. Sorry, there's something on my eyeball. I think my eyeliner is going all over the place. By the way, did y'all see my green eyeliner? I matched my shirt. I was trying to be sort of like, you know, festive. But really being attuned to what your core values are. Like, are you wanting to live a life of harmony and peace and excitement? Are you trying to make change in the world? Are you trying to live your purpose? Are you trying to have an intuitive experience with yourself? Like, what does that actually look like? Are you trying to ensure that goodness ensues? Are you trying to, you know, kind of like pepper in kindness everywhere you possibly can? So when you're presented with a situation that does not align to that core value, that's going to be your shortcut back to your truest form of yourself, to be able to decide, is this the choice that I make, or is this not the choice that I make? How would I like to take this step forward along the path in which I am on? Because then my experience sort of like forms from that place, from that vibrational space. Taking action from whatever vibration you're holding is going to create that manifestation in your life, right? So anyways, exhilaration. Yeah. Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. That was kind of like my little intro. And so what I want to do today is hopefully get my dog. Let me do something really quickly. I'm washing all of his dog beds, so I'm going to put something over here for him to lay on. Smudgy, lay right here. Come here. Lay right here. He's got this hip issue. He's got hip dysplasia, if you guys know what that is. And I don't like him laying on the floor without some sort of like support or cushion, because I feel like he's just going to be stubborn. Mojo, lay on this bed. Come here. Lay right there. You're stressing me out on the floor. I want rebirth of self and freedom. I think that's what my visions have been. Ooh, tell me about your visions. Also, this is something that I wanted to kind of pepper into today is how much have you guys worked on and are you familiar with kind of like your shadow self, like the whole concept. You don't necessarily have to resonate with it, but there is a purpose to my talk today. Oh, thanks, Rita. I love this color. Don't you love this color? I wanted to know, like, how do you resonate with like kind of the concept of your shadow? Like, all of us here in this group, mostly, especially from your intentions that you continue to put up on the intention thread, a lot of you all are like, I want to be in touch with my intuitive self. I want more sense of my psychic gifts. I'm just trying to like recollect some of what you've put down on your intention thread. And so while all those are beautiful intentions and we're from a place of light and a place of encouragement of ourselves, and I think that's incredible, we also have to recognize that we really do live in a universe of duality, right? There's light, there's dark, and all of these things. And so as we want to ignite more of our light, sometimes we get to meet the darker parts of ourself. And what I want to encourage you all to do on this call is to invite that part of yourself up. And what happens is when you don't have that shame and you don't have that fear of that place, that shadow kind of coming up and poking its head and revealing itself, and all the emotions and thought systems that are sort of encompassed in that space, is that you create more room for your light to expand. And when your light expands and you become an illuminated light being, then that intuitive nature that you seek is automatic, right? You become more aligned with that divinity in which you are. You're channeling that source energy to utilize your gifts in a higher fashion. But when we decide that, no, I can't look at that. No, I don't want to look at that. That's too much. That's too hard. That's not me. I'm going to blame. I'm going to point the finger. I'm going to do all these things. Then realistically, that energy doesn't disappear. That emotion, that feeling, that thought, it does not disappear. It just kind of goes down into a crevice. It goes down somewhere in us, and we experience anxiety. We experience depression. We experience fret. We experience physical ailments. We have illnesses. We have problems. We have just, the freaking list can go on, right? So all these things give us the feedback that there's something deeper going on underneath the surface that is requiring our attention and our compassion to grow through it, right? The denial of an aspect of ourself keeps us in a distance from the wholeness of ourself. So if we say we want to be and live this intuitive filled life, we want to have a life of service and purpose and all of these things, let's do it. But let's dig in and do the work so we can become the wholeness of ourself. We can experience the fullness of our soul, the fullness of our gifts, the fullness of our intuition. And we don't live a life of projecting those fears and projecting those unhealed emotions on others. Have you guys heard that term? And you probably see a ton of memes on Facebook, but it's like hurt people, and healed people, heal people. It's cute and it's got a lot of truth to it. And that's kind of what I'm trying to talk about here on this particular video is let's go in, let's heal those places of ourself. Let's bring those kind of shadow components up and decide, okay, what can I do with this piece here? How can I heal through this so I can pay it forward? So I can support my intention. Remember how we were talking about intentions recently, and those of you guys that were on the new moon, is how can I support my intention versus creating more conflicting energy that's in direct contrast with it. Therefore, my intention feels like so far away from me, or it feels like really complicated to get to, or whatever the case may be. Well, this is kind of like how we get to it. And for those of you guys that necessarily aren't familiar, there's probably a myriad of different interpretations. You guys can Google it, whatever you want to do. And this is where my little handy dandy notes come in. But kind of the shadow self is something that Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist back in, whenever that time was, he believed that it says the human shadow is kind of like that piece of us that brings us to a fullness of our human experience. So when we say that, oh, I'm this person and I've got all these values, well, we still have the opportunity in our human condition to experience the entire spectrum of all human emotions. Who here has experienced rage before? Who here has experienced envy? Who here has experienced jealousy? Who here has experienced, let's see, I put some notes down, desire for power? Who here has experienced the desire for revenge? Who here has experienced the desire for power? And when I say power, in a way that you have to utilize things that, like power at all costs. Like, I don't care who I've got to run over. I don't care what I got to do. I got to have that freaking power. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, so what these items are and what this emotional experience is showing you is your shadow self. That is what is coming up and showing its head. It's not to say that you're a bad person, that you should not feel that way. You know what? You're a being of light. How dare you feel jealous, right? Have you felt that way about yourself when there was like emotion? Maybe you're like thinking of an experience in your past, or shoot, maybe you're just at the sink washing dishes and you're like, ugh, I've just got this burning desire that I want revenge. How dare that person do this to me, or whatever the case may be. Have you guys had that experience? And then immediately you come in and you're like, whoa, that was a little scary. Like, I don't know where that came from. I don't know if I want to look at that. Like, I'm gonna transmute that. I'm gonna make it into whatever, or I'm going to tell myself that that's not really me. It was really her or him, that they shouldn't have broke up with me like that, or whatever, right? Does any of this resonate? Has anyone found themselves in a position that this sounds familiar? If so, say yes now. Promise this is going to be liberating. And so what happens when these things pop up is that when we choose to not dig in and decide, okay, this is a place of self-discovery. This is coming up to allow myself to experience more of myself, but not in a negative way. It's not to say, these are the things that are wrong with me. This is why nobody loves me. This is why I can't get anywhere in life. This is why I didn't get that promotion. This is why whatever, fill in the blank, right? So decide right now, what is that predominant feeling out of the list that I gave you? And these are the powerful ones. This is why I gave you the examples that I did. Do you want me to run through the list again? Is jealousy, rage, envy, desire for revenge, lust, and desire for power. These are the ones that have like a really potent frequency, and they have a really, really massive way of transforming us if we choose to see it for what it actually is, okay? So yes to all of that. All right, perfect, Rita. Exactly. And so as these things come up, it's really leading us to a more beautiful space in ourselves. But if we say, no, for all the reasons in the whole wide world, I don't want to look at that, or I have every right to feel jealous because of, Tom shouldn't have done this, and whatever, right? So we fill in and we insert the story that actually validates that thought. Now, here's where the tricky thing comes in, is that yes, we are allowed to experience whatever emotion that we want to experience. But the kicker here is, the flip side of it is, are we experiencing it genuinely? Are we experiencing it from the soul aspect of ourself, or are we experiencing it from a different part of our shadow being and in an inauthentic way? So we tap on a justification, we tack on whatever kind of story that we want to support that emotion so we feel justified. We're like, yep, I have every freaking right to want to see that person get punished because they did a horrible thing. Well, yes, all that is true. However, we need to take it a step further and decide, why is there that deep-seated need within myself, within my soul, that I am seeking that freaking revenge? Yes, it was wrong that this thing happened to this child, or this thing that happened to this individual, or again, whatever, fill in whatever blank you want to fill in. It doesn't matter. The story itself doesn't necessarily matter here. What matters is, what is the point of origin? What is the point of origin of how this energy and emotion was created? Why does it keep showing up in my life? Why are there different scenarios that play out that bring me to a place of feeling victimized, so I want revenge? What situations and emotions are creating the experiences where I feel victimized and I feel jealous? I feel victimized and I'm envious of someone else. And so I'm sitting with that, and then maybe I don't want to sit with that. Maybe I'm like, yeah, well, the reason why she does good is because her dad paid for everything, right? Like, she never had to work a day in her life, right? So we have our little story that has justified that emotion. But essentially, was that the truest form of ourself that created that story that justified this feeling? So we're like, yep, we're right. We can sit in this jealousy and we can sit in this envy and we feel okay, right? Does this make sense? Are you guys following so far? But so, like, that part of us that created that story, that justified this emotion, was that the truest form of our soul? Was that the truest, genuine expression of ourself? No. That just actually allowed that emotion to stay stuck. So it just found its little way into some part of our body, into some part of our mind, into some little crevice of our subconscious. So then that sucker plays on repeat. So then we see something else and that story replays and we're like, yep, just like so-and-so, just like Ashley, just like whatever, right? And so there it goes. There it goes again. And so that energy is never actually dealt with. And so that energy sort of resides in that shadow portion where the light hasn't necessarily illuminated it to transform it, to integrate that facet of ourself into our light being. And so we carry ourselves throughout the day and we're mostly fine. We're mostly fine doing our thing, being intuitive, being the light worker that we are, living our life, yada, 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 until that thing pops up again. And then it gets our energy all wonky and it feels funny and it feels icky and it's sticky and it's yucky. And so we're like, bleh. We had a bad day because we felt like this about Ashley and her stupid car and her dad buying this. And here I am drying around a jalopy and I worked my butt off for it, right? Does that feel genuine and does that feel true? It doesn't mean that your experience is any less real. It does not mean that you are not validated, and it does not mean that your experience should be discredited, right? It simply means that there's a different experience that you can insert here to bring about that integration of your wholeness, if you are willing to look at it and if you're willing to dig around a little bit, right? So how can we kind of like trace this whole little thing right back to the point of origin? Where was this emotion created? Where in your life can you dial back and see, okay, that jealousy has popped up here, there, or wherever, symptomatic to really whatever I've been holding and carrying around. Maybe there's like a part of my body that I actually feel it in. Let me ask you guys that are live right now, those of you all that have answered about maybe envy or jealousy or what was the other one? Rage or revenge. Where in your body do you feel it? Type it in right now. And hi Shannon, I just saw you pop on. Sometimes the comments like stay current, sometimes they don't. All right, guys. Those of you all that have answered, where in your body are you feeling this emotion right now? Right side of your neck, okay? Stomach. Yeah, I was about to say, somebody better say chest, because my chest is so freaking tight right now. Where else? The other thing that I want you guys to dial into is how strong of a feeling is it? Your gut? Okay. I was feeling something in my gut. Who's got the throat? Who's got a throat situation? I feel like I'm short of breath. I'm gonna pant like a dog. Throat. Okay, maybe it was you. I must be dialed into you, Lee. That's cool, because we're gonna clear it. Heart and midsection, stomach, definitely chest. Feels like someone's squeezing my heart. Yep, feel that too. You, the throat. Okay. I'm like, someone say it. I feel like I need to take a deep breath. You, okay, cool. This is good. This is good stuff. All right, so this means that we're getting to the heart of the matter here. Shoulders. All right, second question. It is tight. Let's all take a deep breath. And what I want you guys to do is dial into this feeling. I want you to tell me, how long has this been present? Is this new? Or has it been existing for quite some time? Heart. Okay. And as you decide how long it's been present, sit with that for just a second. Like for myself, I had a feeling of kind of like unworthiness that was replayed in a lot of different areas in my life. And if I kind of look all the way back, I can kind of trace it back to a particular scenario, but I mostly feel it in my stomach. And holy cannoli, it's like, it's been there for a while. Existing for a while, years, couple of days, as long as I can remember. I hear that. It's seasonal for a long time. Not new for a long time, but I don't know how long. Okay, comes and goes, sort of feels stressful, but it makes me want to hibernate, right? It makes you want to retract. It makes you want to retract into yourself, which is actually not a bad thing. Because if you think about the whole concept of hibernation, when we kind of pull in and go into that quiet space, that's a perfect place to dig around, right? When we have that quiet space. I'm sorry guys, like the burping is so freaking real right now, and it's someone's got something wanting to come up all your life. But when we're in that place of hibernation, it's a beautiful place to kind of dive into that reflection and that self-discovery. So here's where we have to start shifting our perception around. Sometimes we think, ooh, when we need to hibernate, that's a bad thing because we need to be exposed. We need to be out in the world. We got to get shit done. We got to make things happen. Like, I don't have time to go like hibernate. I don't have time to go like, you know, lay down and take a nap and all these things. But is that feeling coming up to redirect you for your transformation? Is it serving you? How can you shift the energy around to where, oh, okay, if I feel like I'm going to hibernate from an elevated space, and if I choose to go into that space and say, what is here for me? If I need to go into that hibernation space, like, okay, what's here? What's here? All right, I'm sitting here with this yucky feeling, but that's not it. That's not the ultimate truth. Because remember the duality. So if there's dark, there's got to be light, but I got to find the light, right? There's not only that darkness. So how can you go into that space of hibernation and self-reflection that you can literally choose to find the light? Well, sometimes we actually have to go into the dark, clear it out, right? Like how, you go into the dark tunnel and finally you see the end of it and you're like, oh my God, there's the light. I'm almost on the other side. I'm almost on the other side. I can see the freaking light, right? So I got to follow it. But maybe you didn't see the light the whole time. Maybe you were just kind of navigating like a bat, like you were just trying to use your senses, feel things out until you're like, all right, I know eventually I'm going to get to the light. I'm going to have to trust. I'm going to have to trust the process. But the only thing that's actually going to carry me forward is by me staying aligned to those core values and the truest form of myself. Not the form of myself that is feeling low or, victimized or self-pity. That's not really going to carry me to a place of light. It's going to kind of keep me in that space of darkness, right? So what I want to do is let me get my computer up and then we can kind of start the clearing process. These are some things that I kind of like typed out and I want to see how it resonates. And before I kind of dive into this, I want you guys to kind of sit with that feeling that came up. And what I want to say is that when we're able to give compassion to that place of ourself and we trace it back to its points of origin and we really find out like where the wound was created, then we can see why it even exists in the first place. It just plays out in a form of hurt, in a form of unpreferential interaction with ourselves and with others and in our environment, because it's really just bringing our focus, right? If our focus is on it, what are we focusing on? So if we have an experience that we are envious of someone else, our focus is on it, right? Because we're experiencing the envy. But is that all that we need to focus on? Do you see what I'm saying? I know I'm trying to, I feel like I'm talking in cryptic words here, but it's really simplistic if you give yourself the opportunity of like, okay, if my focus is on this envy, but why? What is it teaching me and what is it showing me? And sometimes we're in that space where like, it's not showing me anything except people can be ungrateful and they're not happy with what they got and they just get handed things and blah, 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 right? That's our story that comes up to justify the envy because we want to give ourselves permission to experience the myriad of emotions. And while all that is very true, and we should give ourselves permission to experience those emotions, we also need to remind ourselves that's not the end, right? Just the experience of the emotion is not the end of the road or the end of the path or the end of the tunnel. That's just part of the process. That's a few steps that we're taking towards our ultimate goal, which is to illuminate more of our light that is within us. So if we can remind ourselves that in that space, in that darker side of ourselves, that shadow portion that is giving us that information, it's simply information. Like, oh, interesting, this envy's coming up. And here's my story that justifies my envy. And so I can stop there and be like, fine, I'm justified. I experienced my emotion. Or I can say, what else is there for me to teach myself more about myself? What was the point of origin? What was the situation that occurred in my life that really solidified and stamped in and made such an impression on me that this needs to come up now in the space that I'm in to teach me a deeper layer of myself? Are you guys following? Is this making sense? Again, these comments are delayed, so anyways. All right. All right, good. I'm getting thumbs up. Cool. I know I keep repeating, but I'm wanting to make sure that you guys are like really sitting with this. Maria just commented, so with my most recent jealousy, I guess I'm hanging on to it to justify the pain that I went through. Do I need to dig in deeper? Absolutely. Do you want the jealousy? Let me ask you this. Do you want the jealousy? Are you good with sitting with the jealousy? Are you good with that? Is that you're like, all right, I'll just sit with that. No big deal. Or do you want to use it? How can we use this jealousy? Or do you want the jealousy to use you? What feels true to you right now, Maria? Let's play with this for a minute. Are you cool with that? No, you don't want the jealousy. Why? Because it makes you feel what? Fill in the blank. Are you okay being the person that I play with here? I'm waiting for her to answer, guys. So we're digging into jealousy with Maria. And I just asked her, does she want to use the jealousy or does she want the jealousy to use her? Because when we do not integrate our shadow self, that's what happens. These emotions use us, right? They use us as kind of like a personification of itself. And so we find ourselves in these experiences kind of being used by these emotions versus allowing ourselves to meet it head on. We meet it head on. And then we use this emotion to learn more about ourselves. All right. I want to use it to heal. It makes me feel perfect. Okay. So you've got this sense of jealousy, but is that really it? Like, what's under the jealousy, Maria? Like, here's where we're going to go. We're like layer by layer by layer by layer, because here's the thing. When emotion is kind of like at its heightened state, it has our attention. Our focus is on it. We're like all in. We are acutely dialed in. We're like, oh, all these things. Like, it's almost like an explosion of feelings that occur when these things are being presented to us, right? Like, I'm sure when you're in that space of jealousy, it's like all systems go, right? I can feel it using me, but I'm tired of it, so I'm ready to. All right, perfect. First of all, we're going to transmute it today. But secondly, I want to ask you really what's underneath that jealousy. And I think that you've already kind of demonstrated to everybody here that jealousy is just leading you to a space of understanding yourself better to heal. And you know what that jealousy is actually doing? It's giving you the space to have a proper experience of what you went through. And if you're okay with me saying it on video, like your divorce, like you seeing what this person did to you in your life, you are justified in feeling your own emotion because it's your emotion, right? You get to choose your emotion. You don't need a story to justify it. You don't need someone to give you permission. You don't need any of those things. You get to allow yourself this space to experience that emotion, but do so from a genuine space. Don't do so from a space to where you're like, you jump into a different persona or an aspect of yourself or anything that creates a momentum of disgenuine actions. Like if you start like seeking out little ways of like poking someone back or hurting someone else, and that's not you, right? You really are that light being. So by you allowing yourself the time and the actual space to honor your experience, you're giving yourself the opportunity to see that the other person gets space to have their own experience too, right? You guys are in two different realities. You're in the same reality, but you're also in two different realities. Is that also making sense? Based upon your choices, based upon your experiences, based upon your emotions that you choose to insert into your life. Okay, let's see. It's the only thing I sort of control my situation. Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. So what does the control give you though? A sense of security, a sense of safety, that if I'm in control, no one's going to hurt me again. I'm not going to be betrayed. I'm not going to be blindsided. I'm not going to be, the rug's not going to be pulled out from underneath me. The other shoe ain't going to drop, because if I'm in control, that's not going to happen. So I'm going to hang on to this jealousy because I know it's going to create this protective little barrier around myself. And I'm going to have more acute vision to dial into the shenanigans of someone else that's going to pull some crap over on me, right? Sense of worthiness. So this is actually really good that you're able to dial into exactly what your need is. Do you see how this jealousy, you've already utilized it? It's not using you. You're already utilizing this feeling of jealousy to go dial into what is your actual desire here. What part of you needs more compassion? What part of you needs to be sort of like cultivated a little bit more? What part of you needs to feel more loved? What part of you needs to be nurtured? You're not messed up at all. We all have these aspects of ourselves. We all have these spectrum of emotion. Really, they circulate throughout the day. But what we choose to do with them and how we choose to interact with them is where we gain our sense of empowerment. We don't react. We step back into our space and respond, right? When we start reacting to the energy that we are experiencing, so if someone's throwing hate at you and wah, this kind of emotion, you can react in that same vibration, which is just going to perpetuate more of that. But is that actually the truest form of you? Most likely not. But if you step back and respond from whatever is the truest form of you, then it's most likely going to be a variation of a vibration, right? It's going to be quite different. You're not going to meet them on the vibration that feels yucky and unpreferential and maybe scary or whatever. You know, you can insert whatever emotion you want to use there. But you can actually shift the frequency of the dynamic from responding from a different vibration. Not at the same vibration in which they are choosing to push towards you or invite you in, or whatever the case may be. I guess I just need to feel that I am worthy of love and connection. Absolutely. And Maria, I want to ask you, where have you felt worthy and connected? Find an instance in your life, a scenario, a scene, an experience, an encounter, a conversation. Where have you felt that? I just joined. I'm behind the 8 ball. How do you recall soul fragments and transmute them? I've had stuff pop back up, shadow work, and not sure what's up with that. Can you expand on that a little bit more? What do you mean stuff that's popped back up? Like stuff you've worked on and then it's just come back? Is that what you mean? And then we're going to jump into the clearing. I want you all to dial into back to the emotion that you typed in and you identified a part of your body that it is residing in. I want you to dial back into that now. Okay, I got you. It's been a long time. I can't remember. How about, can I give you an example? How about when we were at our Siesta Key event and you had a connection, I think even with Penny, but some of the other ladies there, like what was that feeling? That I witnessed you guys have such a profound soul connection with one another, and there was automatic love. You didn't have to do anything for it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you just showed up, you were vulnerable, you were genuinely, authentically you were open, you were accepting, you were in the flow of the experience itself. And so that connection and that love was like automatic. and it was being reciprocated. You didn't do anything for it, Maria, right? There was no action. There was no task. There was nothing you had to prove that you're like, all right, I did this, everyone. Can you love me and connect to me now? It wasn't that at all. If you recall, like it was just you showing up as you. Can you tap back into that energy as I describe it? And some of you guys that were there, KK, I think that you're on now. Do you remember this as well? If so, I would like for you to send Maria that frequency right now. Absolutely. I forgot about that. They are still here for me. Circle is widening to spouses. Mike. Yeah, totally. Okay. So now that you know that there is an actual, true, genuine experience, that you can tap into the frequency of that love and that connection that you so seek. Absolutely sending now. Okay, so KK sending you that frequency right now. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to sit back. I don't know if you're laying down, if you're sitting up, Maria, I want you to sit back, and everybody actually do this. I want you guys to, oh, AK, I didn't know you were on. Boop, boop. Okay, so see, you got two soul sisters right here. But I want you to sit back, and I want you to like literally intentionally pull your shoulders back to like kind of open up your heart area, your heart center. I want you to open that entire space up right now, okay? And taking a deep breath and intentionally receive AK and KK, I want you to intentionally receive their frequency right now. And I want you to tap in and intentionally anchor that in. And know that you do not need to tie and tether the feeling and emotion of jealousy to the feeling of love and connection. Do you see that there was no need for the jealousy here to tie you into this space, right? So what we're doing is kind of like formulating a different association to what jealousy was leading you to and what it was representing in your life, to what true love and connection feels like. You don't need one to experience the other. Let's put them in their spaces in which they belong. Does this make sense, Maria? Are you feeling this now? Sitting back, being in that space. Just type in a yes. And you guys, as I'm going through this with Maria, I want you to kind of be applying this to whatever scenario that you have in your mind and your heart as we've begun this video. Okay? And if you're there, type yes. So I know that you guys are doing it and you're following along. Tuning into that emotion. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Who else? All right. It looks like Sherry, Amy. All right. So I want you, now that you're feeling those emotions, Tanya, you just jumped on. You've missed about 3 different rants of mine, so you might have to go back. You know how I do. Yes. Okay. Yes. All right. Perfect. So you're there. Beautiful. Yes, I am. Yes, now I am jealous I wasn't at CSK. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. We had a lot of fun. Tanya's laughing. Debstone, yes. Betty, yes. Okay. All right, guys. Now what I want you to do is tune back into that feeling, because here's the thing. I keep bringing it back to this. I know once I bring you to a good space and I tell you to go back to this negative feeling, you're like, no, I don't want to feel that. But that's what keeps it stuck. That's what keeps it stuck. We're trying to bring it up, okay? It needs some sort of air. So dial back into that feeling. A lot of you guys had it in the throat. Some of you guys had it in the chest. Some of you guys had it in the stomach. Some of you guys had it in your shoulders. I can't really remember now, but I want you guys to identify that feeling of the jealousy, the rage, the revenge, the, what was the other one? Envy, I think. Desire for power. I want you to dial back into that emotion. See where it's sitting in your body. Okay. and feel it. And I want you now to put a number on the intensity of that feeling. And just type it in. So that way your mind sees that you are participating in your energetic exploration here. We always want to get our mind on board. Otherwise, it's going to start contradicting what we're doing. Even when you're doing heart space work, you really want to integrate your mind into the experience so it doesn't start throwing up conflicting stories. Like it's kind of like a soothing integration process. 3, 6, okay, and this is on a scale from 1 to 10. I guess I should have said that. 1 being like, I don't feel it at all. 10, it's ruining my life. So I don't know if you need to change your number. I guess I should have said that first. My jealousy is in the stomach, 3 or 4. Okay. 5 to 8, depending. It's in 2 places. That's okay. That happens. Yep. Again, 1 being like, no big deal, to 10 being like, holy crap, my life is ruined. 6, okay. So now that you see the number that is representing this particular feeling in your body, tune into that place of your body. I want you to ask yourself right now, what is the surface story that is attached to that emotion? If you are jealous, why? What is the story that is supporting this jealousy? Or whatever the emotion is, by the way. Revenge, envy, yada, yada, yada. What is the story that is supporting that emotion? Because your body's like, hey, you got a story, it's supporting it, I'm going to keep it. It's supported, it's justified. Yep, we're going to stick it right here, we're going to stick it right here, we're going to stick it right here. Body's like, got it, got it, got it. Right? And also the body on some days is like, oh God, help. Can you please do something with this? It's just becoming too heavy. Because you've got these intentions of I'm living love and light and I want to create and I'm inspired and I want to help. And the body's like, good Lord, I only have so much room. You're going to have to get rid of something. If you want more creativity, you're going to have to do an exchange here, right? How about this thing that's got your attention? Hey, the shoulder's hurting. Do you want to look here? You want to exchange whatever's going on in this shoulder? You say you want creativity. Well, I'm giving you the opportunity to look at it. But how many of you are like, my damn shoulder hurts and this sucks? Instead of like, oh, okay, shoulder, you're hurting. Okay, what can I do with this? Is this making sense? Oh, I got to reposition. Ooh, and I almost knocked something over. Let me know if you guys are following along. Again, you know, the thing is delayed. I want to make sure you're rolling with it. And then we're going to start our meditation and clearing. Now that I've yakety yacked, I just wanted to make this like really a potent feeling so you can dial into it. I'm not good enough for good things. Perfect. That's probably a very similar story, Lee, that a lot of people have. And so that's really good. That's really good that you're dialing into that. Tanya says, yep. Who else? Maria, Betty, Shannon, Tracy. Have you dialed into the story yet? Yep. Okay, perfect. All right. Second step. I am not seen. Can't outshine others. Ooh, Tracy, that's a good one. You know what? That's such a freaking good one. I can't outshine others. So what do? You probably dim yourself down. You sabotage opportunities. You push someone else in front of you. You're like, oh no, you go ahead. You go ahead. Right? And your little light inside of you is like, oh, but wait. Hey, I had something really I wanted to show or say or share. Right? Others make better choices than I do. I'm not good enough. AK, that's also a good one. All right, perfect. I want you to ask yourself, fear of failure in a huge way, like complete crash and burn. Okay? All right. I want you to ask yourself, how true is this story? On a scale of 1 to 10, like, honestly, not true. 10, ultimate truth, I will live and die by it. Scale of 1 to 10, put your number in. I want what they have. Perfect, perfect. This is good. Does this feel good? Getting this stuff up and out? Okay, 3. We got a 3. 6. What else we got? 3. 5. Got a midway. 4. Another 4. 1. Oh, see? Sometimes when you just ask yourself the truth of it, it's like. So now we get to ask ourselves, why did we want it to be true? What is it going to give us if we want it to be true, right? So if we say, I'm not good enough. Wait, Maria's saying not true. Is that an 8 or a 2? Okay, so number 1, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 is like, not true at all. 10 is like ultimate truth. You're going to live and die by it. Shannon's saying that's the thing. I know mentally that it isn't true, and I've disproved it over and over, but my heart still gets strangled when things don't go as planned. Of course it does. And again, we have actual real validation for feeling the way that we feel. But we also know that we don't necessarily have to end with that and sit with that. And that kind of be the ultimate resolution to our chapter, right? If we have an unpreferential experience, it doesn't just like, life sucks, the end, close the chapter, right? We get to turn the page and decide how we want to fill that in. So, all right, this thing happened to me and I'm really mad and I'm really disappointed in another person and I'm really upset and all the story is telling me is so damn true because it really freaking happened. But is that the end of things for me? Is that just like, well, I'm just going to move on. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to work tomorrow and I'm just going to have that experience be the way that it is. Not when we're conscious individuals and we can choose the impression that we leave upon ourselves based upon the experience and the interaction that we have with that experience. So how can we bring an elevated understanding to it of ourselves? Then we can worry about the other individuals and the story and the characters and yada, yada, yada. But we're focusing on ourselves right now. So shame and disgust. Ooh, this is actually a really good one too. Sorry, I got myself derailed. What was I saying? That's the good and bad thing about Facebook. I'm like, ooh, yeah, so I can see people's responses and I'm like, what the hell was I talking about? I think it was about, the experience is very, very real, but it doesn't have to end there. So, okay, if we feel like our heart is strangled and we're massively disappointed, then that doesn't necessarily have to be the end all be all in our reality. What I want you guys to do right now is everything that you've typed in, sit with kind of the resonance of that story. And it's all very real. You have all the permission and reasons in the whole wide world to feel the way you're feeling. The point of this exercise is to not deny the jealousy, not deny the shame, not deny the disgust, not to deny the disappointment. It's to bring it up, allow ourselves to truly, deeply freaking feel it, acknowledge it, and give it some gratitude because it's bringing us somewhere else. Like I'm saying, the road doesn't end with jealousy. The road doesn't end with disgust. It doesn't end with disappointment. We get to keep going. Okay, are you guys following? And I'm sorry if I keep asking this. It's because we're on this video and I can't like see your faces like we are in an event or like on a phone call. So I want to make sure that you guys are following. So what I want you guys to do is sit with kind of the frequency of this story or this experience that has brought this particular emotion up. Now I want you to kind of like think back. You want to embrace the curves, and you can. I know that they can be beautiful, but I want to embrace without having to dive through the fear first. And most of us do. And you got to figure out too, what are you fearful of? Like, what is the fear? Is it the fear of digging in? Is it the fear of making a wrong choice? Like, what is the fear specifically? And you want to learn to embrace the curves and bumps along the way. You already are. So give yourself gratitude and celebration that you're already doing it, Shannon. It's nothing you have to learn. You already are. Already are. There's no learning. You are doing. You are being it. You are embodying it and you are living it. And mostly probably because I know you and I know your energy, but you're already embracing it. And I think that if I can speak to this, it feels like there is an expectation of yourself that you need to actually experience it in a different way. Are you holding yourself to a higher expectation of, I need to accept it all in stride and everything just needs to be okay? Is there an expectation of yourself there? And by you not meeting it, you feel like you are not embracing the curves and bumps along the way. Let me know how that feels to you. Maria, you must have jumped off and jumped back on. All right. Everybody good to move on to the next thing? I just want to make sure you guys are in the space where you can. Tanya, thank you for being vulnerable and saying what you just said. Mine is shame and disgust in my own body. This is the cover to make me feel small and out of control so I can hide instead of standing strong and tall in my own body. It is not true, but I've lived like it's true. Yep. I have experienced almost identical what you're saying. And a lot of us don't want to speak to it, right? Because then we have to say or feel like we have to admit like we've done something wrong. And we haven't. All right, everybody good. Okay, so this is the other thing that I want you to do. As you sit with the resonance of your story, I want you all right now, go ahead, sit still, get comfortable. I want you to close your eyes. Oh, you're on 2 devices. We're going to see how long I can last without having to go to the bathroom. If I have to get up and potty, then I will just get up and potty. And then we will do the clearing after that, if y'all are okay with that. All right. But first, I want you to, yeah, no one wants to say it out loud, Tanya. No one wants to say it out loud. You want to like make up all these reasons of like maybe why it's happened or like hide it, cover it up. But essentially there's so much bubbling underneath the surface and an individual lesson. Like some people look at people and think, oh, well, you've let yourself go. You've done something wrong and you don't necessarily want to admit it. But really those are just like outside stories that will place upon the situation that doesn't actually have any truth to it at all. It's really something quite different, right? It's probably more of something, at least I feel with you, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you are a powerful spiritual being. And for you to fully be completely out there, be seen, it's like you have to remove like the whole paradigm of needing to be accepted and received for who you are from a soul point of view versus like the human body. And so the human body is just a representation of, I'm not ready. I don't know if I can do this. Like, this is far too much pressure. Like, holy crap, this is a lot. So like the world and the society that we live in, if we are not like of a certain appearance or certain body image, like then we can kind of retract back because the society wants to, you know, kind of like throw up that unacceptance or that criticism. And so it's easier for us to accept that we're being criticized for our outside look versus being rejected for our soul. All right? I don't know. Let me know how that feels. Shannon says, my expectations. The physical reaction is immediate and before I process anything. I'm not sure I'm following, and it's partly because I kind of forgot how I asked you the question. I know I asked you like what expectation do you have of yourself versus like what your experience is and what the distance between the two. Like, do you have, okay, that resonates. Yeah. So awareness is the first thing, as you know. You've done enough of these trainings, and exploration in your self-awareness is key. And I'm sure you've done a lot of work already. So I'm interested to see how this goes. And I'm interested to see like how your spiritual path has ensued. Okay, everybody good. Let's close our eyes. Let's start to trace back the point of origin of where this emotion originated. Okay, where was it created? This is our goal here. So sit back, close your eyes, get comfortable. And I want you to take inventory of your body now. Take inventory of your body, dialing into those spaces, because they're just puzzle pieces leading you to a better understanding of yourself. If you're feeling some discomfort in any part of your body, it's just grabbing your attention for a deeper understanding. Allow it to be your ally now, instead of being the annoyance. Instead of being that thing in your way, instead of being that piece of you that you've not wanted to see, or that piece of you perhaps you've rejected or judged or shamed. I'd like for you to really feel into that part of your body where that emotion is prevalent and present. I'd like for you to dial into it and see what the frequency actually feels like. If it's discomfort, fine. If it's pain, that's fine too. Again, don't make it into something that it's not. Just be with it now. See what it's trying to tell you. Now shifting your focus to the grounding that you have in place. Perhaps you have a grounding cord already in place. You may release it now. I'd like for you to initiate a new grounding cord so we can ground in this experience, in this moment, and a fresh connection to the center of the earth. So with your intention, perhaps you envision it, but moving that cord to the center of the earth now. Okay. As it reaches the center of the earth with your intention and your focus, visualize yourself pulling up the supporting energy of Mother Earth, that unconditional love and that compassion, and allow that to also be your ally here. Now envision a small version of yourself, and I want you to sit in that place of discomfort in your body. Perhaps it's your heart, perhaps it's your shoulder, your stomach, your throat, your head. Doesn't matter. I'd like for you to pull up a chair, a little small version of yourself. Sit down. Have a seat. Being fueled by that unconditional love and support of Mother Earth beneath your feet. That automatic connection is always there. It's always yours. It's always available. Pulling it up. Pulling it up. Consuming you now. Now. As you're sitting in that chair, I'd like for you to illustrate for yourself a picture, a scene, as you're sitting in that discomfort and that frequency. Ask for the scene to be revealed that gives you a deeper understanding of why this is existing. Why is this feeling of jealousy present? Observe the scene without judgment, without need, without a desire for a particular outcome, releasing expectations now. Pulling in your inner wisdom, and again the support from Earth. Witness this scene. Observe the images, or the words, or the feelings. And once that scene is revealed to you, I'd like for you to thank it and ask what else is needed. What else do you need to know? What else do you need to experience? Staying in your chair, watching your scene unfold. And after you've collected all the information that's needed from this scene, please ask for the version of yourself to appear that is going to help you move to the point of origin that initiated this wound. When and where and how was this wound created that has produced the effect of the emotion that you are experiencing in your reality now? If you are experiencing disgust and shame and guilt, where was that wound created? If you are experiencing jealousy and envy, where was that wound created? Invite in the version of yourself. Perhaps it's a past version, perhaps it's a future version, perhaps it is a higher version. Invite them in. Stand up from your chair. Reach out for their hand and begin to walk. Trust that this part of you is leading you to your higher understanding of why this is happening in your life now. Perhaps you envision a path, or a tunnel, or a road. Doesn't matter. Make it uniquely your own. But as you walk along, be ready to embrace this scene, this experience, this image, again without judgment. And just witness it and observe it. What is that wound? Holding the frequency and holding the space for you now to move through this experience with confidence, with ease, with grace, and with compassion. As you ask for this wound to be revealed to you, ask whatever question that you need to ask for this to be healed right here, right now. What is the hurt? What is the hurt that has produced this feeling? As you have this encounter and this experience, please be with this frequency now, this version of yourself, this scene and this image and this experience. Allow it to make an impression upon you that brings forth more light. You've gone down the dark tunnel or the dark path into the shadow portion of yourself. So perhaps it's in your pocket, perhaps it's in your body, but pull something out that represents your light. Maybe it's a flashlight, maybe it's an oil lamp, maybe it's a firecracker. Bring it out now. Holding the hand of that version of yourself as you are in this experience. Please shine that light now. And as you are shining it, you are deleting all of the reasons and causes and sources of the misinterpretation of this experience that created the unpreferential emotion in your current reality. And you are reinforcing compassion and understanding of this experience in some way for yourself, that you see the wound and you see the hurt. And you begin to mend. Provide aid. And heal. Continue to shine your light until you feel it is complete. Holding the frequency now. Holding it now for you. I want you to thank the version of yourself that brought you to this space. And I'd like for you to bring back whatever information is needed in your reality now from this experience. When you feel as if this is complete, you may turn around and walk down the path back to the chair that you started from. But holding your light, pointing behind you, you continue to keep the space illuminated. It is no longer in the dark. You have transmuted it. You have transformed it. So continue to allow this energy to sift and sort itself out, walking yourself back to the chair. You may thank the version of yourself, send them on their way. Sit back down in that same space. And I'd like for you to take notice of this space. How does it feel now? What is the feeling? What is the frequency? What is your experience Now, sit in this chair, placing your focus back on your grounding, pulling in more earth energy, moving all the way up your spine, setting the intention that it is moving up your spine through every energy meridian and chakra system, energy point, out your crown, bridging that connection once again, opening up your crown to the cosmic energy, the divine source, the vital force energy that you are, pulling it in. Taking a deep breath, and as you do, I'm going to be running a high fast frequency up and down your spine to help this energy integrate and settle. You may feel a tingling, you might feel relaxed, you might feel a pulsating. Focusing on allowing this energy to integrate into all of your cells, into all of your body. Now taking that light, continue to illuminate all other parts of your body. So if you were sitting in your stomach, if you were sitting in your shoulder, move that light so it illuminates all parts of you now. Once you feel as if your entire body is ignited with this light, take another deep breath, running another high fast frequency up and down your spine to integrate all these energetic shifts and changes, solidifying it now. One more deep breath in and out. Keeping your grounding in place, keeping your energy open to the divine source, cosmic energy, loosening your body, feeling your body, coming back intentionally and easily. Now, okay. When you're back, type in the chat, you're back, and that your process is complete. I feel like some of you guys are still not here. Back, Tracy, Kimberly, KK, welcome back. Hey, Maria, back. Okay, so those of you guys that are back, what happened? I'm back. How do you feel? I want you to dial back in. Oh, wow, unexpected. It's okay, Maria. I'll post it for a replay. No big deal. Back. Okay. How are you feeling? What is it that you brought back? What did you bring back that lit up that shadow portion of you for your integration? Do you feel integrated? Do you feel whole? Do you feel as if that initial feeling that you felt at the beginning of this is needed anymore? I ran a lot of energy for you guys, and that's usually why I keep my eyes open like a creep. Those of you guys that have worked with me in person, I know Shannon totally gets it. Okay, too. But that's why I keep my eyes open, because if you feel like you don't want to close your eyes, you can always connect with mine. I'm running a lot of energy and frequency to kind of like facilitate the situation, but also to help yourself process. Wow, you guys did a lot of work is all I can say. I was like, I couldn't see for a minute. Feel great. Light brought back an infant memory. Wow, Maria, holy cannoli. How does that feel? AK feels peaceful. Jenny feels a wholeness. Reconciled with the version of myself that I closed off. I didn't like her envy. And we can give her compassion, because that's all she knew, was to feel that envy, to bring her to you right now, right? We can love her. I immediately heard the word hysterectomy. I was 24 years old. It needed to be healed. Unexpected. I felt like my choice and voice was not heard at that time. What I heard when I filled with light was, you are whole. Wow, this is so cool. You guys, I love y'all so much. Thank you for doing this with me. I really kind of want to leave you guys on like a high, light note. I'm feeling amazing. Thank you. I definitely understand the feeling better, and very capable of moving beyond that now. Awesome. Explains a lot of my fears and inadequacies. Cool. Do you guys feel like you've got a deeper like inner wisdom of yourself? Do you feel like now, as we're moving into the autumn equinox and this new season, you can bring this new version of yourself, this new season of you, into the new season? Heart feels so much lighter. Needed it. Met my teenage self at the bottom of the staircase as my mom refused to read something she was really proud of. Wow. That's so cool, Tracy. KK said, yeah, I couldn't leave her there. Actually, we made peace. Oh, yes. Yes, I felt like I had a big shift. Awesome. Barb says, thank you. You're so welcome. I hope this provided you something that you needed today, and you get to move forward in a lighter way. And I want you guys to continue to do, you know, this work. And I can make a little post if you guys want, of just some different things that we talked about today. But what I would like for you to do to really stamp in your experience is that I want you, if you can, I understand, but this would be a really beautiful way to have like a physical, tangible activity to completely solidify and implement this in your reality. Is I'd like for you to write down that feeling that you first felt. Okay, maybe it was the envy, maybe it was the jealousy, doesn't matter. I want you to write it down. And then I would also like you to write down underneath it whatever this new feeling is, what you transmuted. So on your paper, you're going to have both. And then I want you to draw a circle around it. And then I want you to write across this. This is my power. This is the wholeness of me. I want you to take that piece of paper and go outside, of course, or somewhere safe. But I want you to burn this piece of paper. Maybe you do it in some sort of like dish that is fire safe. But burn it, okay? And the intention here is this, guys, is that once you burn it, I want you to collect the ashes and I want you to plant it somewhere. Maybe you put it in the earth, maybe you put it in a flower pot, but I want it to represent a rebirth, a renewal, and a rejuvenation of the truest version of you. Okay? Does this feel good? I love my meditation. It was a super badass experience. You're so freaking fun, Tanya. Please tell us, by the way. How does everybody feel about this activity? Is it feeling good? Yeah? Okay. And I want you all also, this is how we really like solidify change in our life too, is when we celebrate it with others. So I want you guys to post maybe yourself after you've planted it, or where you've planted it, or what you've done with it, but it's got to signify rebirth and renewal. Okay? Cool? Yay. I'm happy that this was a good experience today. I just was so inspired, like I said earlier, and I wanted to do something. I kind of did not know how it was going to turn out, but I don't know. I just felt like this would be fun. I feel good too, guys. That was pretty fun for me. You're the bomb. Love the idea of burning. Yeah, so cool. All right. Do you guys need, desire, or want anything else from me now, before I sign off and leave you on this high note? And I got to readjust. My leg was like going to sleep. Anything else you need, want, or desire? If not, I will bid you adieu until next time and sign off. I don't see any comments, so I assume you all are good. Love your meditations. Aw, thanks. It's a very random gift. I do receive your love and gratitude. I will take it and I will put it right here. And thank you. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for growing with me. I love you guys so, so much. And I'm excited to create more things. So let me know how I may be of service to you all, assistance, an accompaniment, whatever that looks like in your life. We're here to create. We're here to inspire. We're here to have fun. And anyways, okay, guys, I love y'all. Have a good day, and happy autumn equinox. Say that a few times fast. Bye, guys. Love y'all.